You're either watching this video because the year is about to come to an end, or because you are from the future and you want to see what happened way back in 2022. Either way, welcome to the video and welcome to the channel. If you've never watched one of my videos before, please stick around and hit that subscribe button. We had a lot happen in the Jiu-Jitsu world in 2022. We had Gordon Ryan's continued dominance, a $100,000 bet match, arguably the best ADCC ever, conspiracy theories, and celebrities training Jiu-Jitsu and bringing in some mainstream attention. We'll get into all of that and more, but because so much happened this year, I am sure there will be things I don't mention, so be sure to sound off in the comments about your favorite moments from 2022 and help me fill in the gaps of anything that I don't have time to mention in this video. And since you'll be helping me with your comments, let me help you by one more time in 2022 telling you to make sure you head over to epicrollbjj.com and use the code podcast15 to get 15% off gis, rash guards, fight shorts, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, joggers, and more. Epic Roll has everything you need for on or off the mat, and their stuff is designed by grapplers for grapplers, meaning it will hold up to your most grueling training sessions and will have you looking your best. Don't waste more money on products that are not designed specifically for Jiu-Jitsu. Give Epic Roll a follow on Instagram at epicrollbjj and visit them at epicrollbjj.com and use the code podcast15 to take 15% off your order. epicrollbjj.com, coupon code podcast15. Now, let's take a look back at a big year in Jiu-Jitsu. Before we get into the fun stuff from 2022, I just want to mention a few big losses in the Jiu-Jitsu world, one being Leandro Lo, who was the victim of a violent crime and was shot in August and passed away. Another was Orlando Sanchez, who passed away in December, and also Stephan Bonnar, who just passed away a few days before I'm making this video. Orlando Sanchez was an ADCC winner. He was one of the fastest guys ever to get a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and he was sort of a polarizing figure in the sport. Stephan Bonnar is sort of the reason a lot of people started training. Bonnar was one half of what Dana White calls the most important fight in the history of the UFC and in the history of MMA. He fought Forrest Griffin in the finale of the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, and that was a show that basically saved the UFC from going under. If that fight never happened and the sport never grew to what it is today, a lot of people, myself included, would not be training jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu because I had gotten into watching the UFC and I wanted to try it out. And if that fight never happened, I might not have gotten into the UFC. So you can draw a pretty direct line from Forrest Griffin versus Stephan Bonnar to me being here on your screen talking about jiu-jitsu. It's always sad to see guys pass away, and I guess all things considered, I'm glad this section of the video only has 3 people in it, but it's also 3 too many. All right, no more sad things. Moving on. 2022 featured what I would say was probably the best ADCC ever, and I was super hyped for it going in, and despite a few hiccups, i.e. the Pride Lady screaming every competitor's name for 90 straight minutes, and Seth Daniels twice telling anyone who didn't want the event running super late that they can eat a dick, it was a great event. You can see my more in-depth recap up here, but here are some highlights. Gordon Ryan became the first person to win ADCC in 3 weight divisions, and he won the grudge match against Andre Galvao in this year's super fight. Cade Rotolo became the youngest ever ADCC champ and won his bracket with a 100% sub rate. Fionn Davies became the first UK ADCC champion. Yuri Simões won the absolute, which should mean he faces the winner of this year's super fight in Gordon Ryan at the next ADCC in 2024. So we'll see how that plays out over the next 2 years and if that match happens at the next ADCC. I know that was a very short list of highlights, but way too much happened at ADCC for me to pack all of the highlights into this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite ADCC 22 moment was. This also is not going to be the last time we talk about Gordon Ryan, but more on him in a minute. Jiu-Jitsu as a sport also got a little more mainstream exposure this year, with celebrities competing and training and getting recognition for the sport outside of just Jiu-Jitsu publications. Mario Lopez competed with his kids in a tournament. Tom Hardy seems to be making a habit of just showing up to random Jiu-Jitsu tournaments and doing pretty well. Even Mark Zuckerberg has gotten in on the Jiu-Jitsu and MMA training kick, and I shared this video on my Instagram, and I miraculously did not get banned from the platform since Zuckerberg owns it, and the comments on that video weren't the nicest. But no matter what you think about these particular celebrities individually, I still say that more people being exposed to jiu-jitsu is a very good thing, whether it's through fight promotions or through celebrities training. I think more people realizing what jiu-jitsu is and what it isn't is a very good thing. So I look forward to seeing more of these stories in 2023 where major publications keep talking about jiu-jitsu. Something that fortunately did not get mainstream attention was Kyle Boehm and some of the wild shit he said, because that would have really hurt our sport. Kyle Boehm was the Polaris heavyweight champion until they stripped him of that title, and they disinvited him from any future event after he posted comments on Instagram where he called the Holocaust a hoax. That's not the only controversial thing he said. Boehm also accused New Wave and B Team of rigging matches and fixing fights, but he later deleted that post. I am not sure how much of Kyle Boehm we will be seeing in 2023. As I mentioned earlier, Gordon Ryan had a very busy year, which was nice to see as a fan of jiu-jitsu, whether or not you are a fan of him personally. On top of his ADCC success, he also had another grudge match, this time against Felipe Pena, and this time with $100,000 on the line. Gordon offered Pena 10-1 odds if Pena put up 10K, which he did. Coming into the match, all of the hype was sort of that Felipe Pena was the last person to beat Gordon Ryan and likely had the best chance to take down the current pound-for-pound king. But things got really weird right before the match, and again, you can see a much longer and more detailed explanation of these sequence events by watching my video about it up here. But basically, this match happened in the same weekend that Leandro Lo was killed. Leandro and Pena were very close. There were a bunch of rumors and things that were allegedly said behind the scenes about changing the match from being no time limit to being in an hour time, and things about how maybe the match had to go to a certain distance or else Pena wouldn't get paid. And then there were allegations that Pena was trying to use the death of Lo to say he'd only compete if Lo paid him more money. Now, I'm not saying any of those things did or did not happen. I'm just saying that in the moment, the weirdness of this event was very real. Once the match actually started, for about 44 minutes, it was mostly Gordon being in control, and there was a bit of a reset, and Pena refused to restart the match after that reset, so he basically verbally tapped and Gordon won. Gordon Ryan and Felipe Pena are set to headline another event in February of 2023 on Flow Grappling, but I will admit that even for me, the excitement isn't really there the way it was for this match over the summer, because any mystery about how it could go seems to be gone. The factor of, but Pena is the last person to beat him is gone now that Gordon just won their last match, but I'll still watch it. I'll always watch. So that's it. That's 2022 all wrapped up. Let me know in the comments what your favorite moments from this year were, and let me know the things that didn't make it to my recap that maybe should have. I appreciate you all watching and spending another year with me watching my stuff. I'm thankful you all come to hang out with me and talk about jiu-jitsu. I look forward to what 2023 will bring, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.